Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chloe for those of you who don't know me, and welcome to my channel. Okay guys, so today's video is going to be me answering all of your university questions. I posted a video about 3 years ago of my first year in university experience as well as my residence tour in first year, and since then, over the last 3 years, I've probably got somewhere between 200 to 300 Instagram DMs / comments / just questions that you guys have. So today I'm going to be doing my best to try and answer some of those questions that you guys have. For those of you who don't know, I just graduated my 4th year of university like 2 months ago. I went to Wilfrid Laurier University and graduated with a Bachelor's of Business Administration. I lived in Waterloo for the last 4 years. I was in residence in first year. So yeah, I had the whole university experience, so I'm just going to try and answer some questions today. So the first question I have is, what kind of residence style do I recommend? Apartment, single, or dorm? So I lived in an apartment style and I really liked it because I had my own room, but I still had roommates and also had a kitchen and living space for all of us to share. So I personally really like the apartment style, but if you don't feel like you need a full kitchen or living room and you're okay with sharing a communal bathroom, then I would probably recommend single dorms. I think on average single dorms are usually a bit closer to campus, but it all depends. The single dorms are great because usually you become friends with people who live on the same floor as you, and then you're usually only sharing your bathroom with either one other person or you have like a communal bathroom on one floor. I would say if you really value your privacy or you have a boyfriend or girlfriend and you want that privacy, I would probably recommend going with a single dorm or an apartment style just because it's more private. But if you really like the idea of living with one other person and you're confident that you and that person will be able to cohabitate together for 8 months, then I would recommend doing the dorm style. It's honestly different person to person. Just keep in mind that whoever you choose to be living with, you are going to be living with them for 8 months. So yeah, just stuff to consider. But I personally like the single and apartment style the best. Alrighty, is there curfew? So in residence, there's not curfew per se, but there are certain times of the day where you can't be super loud. Obviously, like around night, I'd probably say anytime after 10. You can expect that people in your building are going to be sleeping, so you shouldn't be, blasting your stereo like super late at night. But definitely on the weekends, like Friday, Saturday nights, like it's okay to be a little more noisy. But something you can expect when you're living in res, that people might be partying or watching movies or whatever. So yeah, just something to expect. There's a dawn usually on every single floor, so they will probably tell you if you're being too noisy. But in terms of curfew, no one was ever telling me like you have to be home at like 10 o'clock. Like that's not really a thing. You can pretty much come and go as you please. Do I recommend morning or afternoon classes? Okay, you think you can do 8:30 classes, but you can't. I know how great it sounds to be able to wake up at 8:30 and like have your classes done and be just, on your way and heading out for the day. But in reality, when you have exams and tests and quizzes and projects all the night before, keeping in mind you might be going out the night before and stuff, like 8:30 is just not manageable for everybody. There are definitely some people who 8:30 is perfect for them. In first year at least, I would probably not recommend doing 8:30 classes. For me, my perfect schedule was kind of starting class around 10 and being done around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I liked to be able to go on campus once during the day and just finish everything and then just kind of be done before like the evening. That's just my personal recommendation in first year. Obviously, some people have to do 8:30 classes because there's no other time slots for them. In that case, like it's fine. Like you'll definitely get through it. It's just a personal recommendation. I probably wouldn't shoot for morning. Next one is, did I work during school / do I recommend people having a part-time job? This is also something that varies from person to person. I chose not to work in first year just because it's such a big change going from high school, living at home, to living by yourself and being independent at school. But I did choose to get a part-time job in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year. For me, I was lucky that I worked at Pita Pit when I was in 2nd year, and then I started working at the bank when I was in 3rd year and 4th year. And for me personally, a job just kind of gave me a better sense of time management. I like knowing that I had a little bit of extra money, and then during my days I would know I have okay work, I have class, and then I have time to study and just do stuff that I want to do for me. So if you don't have to work during school, that's really, really nice, but not everybody has that luxury of not being able to work at school. For me, it was a choice, but I just knew that I would be happier working a little bit. I personally didn't work more than 15 to 20 hours. So yeah, it just varies from person to person. So the next one is, do most people stay on on campus on the weekends? So I would say yes. So I would say that a lot of people in first year definitely stay a lot on campus on the weekends. Probably the first month and the last month especially, a lot of people stay because the first month a lot is changing, the last month you have exams, and then usually in like the second and third month of the semester people will go home. Especially if there's holidays, people will usually go home on the weekends if there's like Thanksgiving or anything like that, which just makes sense. People usually do go home, but I'd say it's probably like the middle of the semester when people are getting kind of homesick or there's no midterms. And you'll probably notice that you and your friends will kind of plan to go home around the same time together because you don't want to be there at school without each other. Next question is, can you bring a car? Yes, you can bring a car to school. If you bring a car in residence in first year, you were likely going to have to pay for a monthly parking pass. For us, I think our passes were somewhere between 30 and 40 bucks to have your car there for the month. It's not something that you have to do. There's definitely so many transportation options around school that you don't necessarily need a car, but some people like having a car so they can drive to and from home. My actual home was 40 minutes away from my campus, so I like that I could drive back and forth from home if I needed to, but it's totally up to you. A lot of people too, after they're not in residence in first year and they have houses or apartments and they have parking lots, they'll choose to keep their cars there. Okay, the next one is, do all programs have co-op opportunities? So no, in university, not all programs have co-op opportunities. I would definitely do some research about the program that you're going into and just kind of look and see if they offer co-op before you go. My program did offer co-op, but it also wasn't something that everybody had to do. It was an option whether you wanted to apply to it or not. So not every university offers co-op for all of their programs. Okay. Did I find that there were a lot of scholarship opportunities? When I was in first year, I applied for several scholarships and several bursaries, and I just kind of went on a tangent for a couple of days where I applied and I got a couple of them. I got an entrance scholarship. I applied for like this big $25,000 scholarship and I didn't get it, but I got an alternative to it, so it wasn't that value, but you know, it's free money, so it still helped. Depending where you are, your university will usually link a couple of pages for you guys to go and apply to them. Depending what state or province you live in too, you can usually just Google wherever you live, and there's some scholarships slash bursaries that are specific to very specific needs. If you meet the specific criteria for those scholarships, I would just recommend applying to them. Some scholarships involve writing an essay or just, you know, talking about yourself and saying why you think you deserve it. So I'd recommend applying to as many as you can because, you know, it's free money. How many hours of class should I expect every single week? So it depends on your school. My course load was 5 courses every single semester. For each of those classes, I had 2 classes a week, and each of them were about an hour and a half. So it works out to being about 15 hours worth of class every single week, whether you're doing that course online or in class. And that's not really including time that it might take for you to do practice questions or readings or any of that stuff. Purely class time, like 15, 16 hours. Would I recommend studying abroad? I really recommend studying abroad. I went away the first semester of my 4th year to Spain and lived there. If you guys check out my channel, you'll probably see all of my travel videos that I did. I loved going away and living abroad. It was just so cool to get to see so many different countries and just experience living somewhere else. And you usually go with a couple of kids from your school as well. I was lucky I went with my best friend and my boyfriend, and yeah, we lived in Spain for 4 months, had so much fun. A lot of times too, class when you go away is going to be pass or fail, so you should probably still try and do well if you want to do any graduate school afterwards. But if you're only looking at getting your undergrad degree, and on your transcript it will just come up as pass or fail. That's just my university specific though. I'd probably ask what your school does for that situation though. Okay. Do you have to do interviews to get into courses? So I never had to do any interview to get into a course, but my boyfriend did have to message a prof one time just kind of requesting to be in a course that he didn't have a prerequisite for, but he was really interested in taking. I would say for the most part, at least at Laurier, I don't think you have to apply to go to any courses, but you know, if it's a special course at your school, then maybe you would have to. And the last question is, what was my favorite thing about university? Overall, my favorite thing was just getting to meet so many of my friends that I have right now. I'm missing them so much because we're all in quarantine right now. And you know, I got my degree. and I learned a lot, so that was kind of a good thing too. Just having a sense of freedom and independence being somewhere else that's not home. I met my boyfriend when I was at school. I'd say just overall, you know, university is a great place to meet a whole bunch of people. You're in a dynamic where people have similar interests to you, and everyone's going through the same thing of just, you know, new school, new environment, everything's just new to everyone. Alrighty guys, so I hoped I answered some of your questions. If you guys have more questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments or send me a message on Instagram at Chloe Williamson. I'll link everything down below. But yeah, I hope I helped you guys out a little bit. Good luck in university, guys. It's a great experience. If you guys are new here, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!